What's going on, everyone? I'm Heath from Host of Horrors, and I just got done watching The House. It is a collection of 3 short films done in stop-motion animation on Netflix. You can check it out if you have a Netflix account. It is worth watching. It really is. It was directed by a team, and I am probably really going to mess these names up, but I'm going to try anyway. We got Emma de Swaef, Marc Roels, Niki von Bahr, and Paloma Baeza. I probably butchered all of that, but whatever. This film is really something. It reminds me a lot of Alice, the 1988 film Alice by, again, I'm going to probably ruin this name, but Jan Schmeckboy. Anywho, it's a really creepy little film. If you've never checked it out, you should watch it. But it reminds me a lot of that. It reminds me of Alice. It reminds me of James and the Giant Peach. It reminds me of Where the Wild Things Are, where it kind of has this grotesque look to it, but you also can't stop watching it because of that grotesque look. Like, as soon as like I saw the first little still frame, as soon as I saw this and this and then this, I was hooked. Again, it's kind of disturbing, but in a really good way. The first short starts with a family living in poverty, and the dad is obsessed with bettering himself, having a nicer home, having a better life for him and his family. And they finally get that opportunity with a architect that is willing to build a house just for them. The only thing is they have to uproot. They have to leave their home, leave all their possessions, and just go to the new house. Once there, the mom and dad basically, they kind of become possessed by the home a little bit, where they're fanatics. The mom is fixated on curtains, making curtains. There's a new sewing machine, so she can make curtains now. And the dad is obsessed with his new fireplace. And towards the end of the film, or towards the end of this story, the short, the mom actually ends up becoming the curtains that she was creating, and the dad becomes a chair set right in front of the fireplace. The only two that find everything a little odd and aren't really comfortable with the home are the 2 little girls, Mabel, and I want to say her name is Isabel, but I'm not 100% sure, which Isabel is weird because she starts out as, well, she's a baby the entire time, but she starts out as like not really being able to move or walk and talks baby gibberish the entire time up until the end, where she starts, crawling and making Mabel follow her to weird locations and discovering odd things about the home. And she ends up like talking, like real adult words talking. So something's up with that baby, and it has nothing to do with the house, and that should be looked into further. But Mabel and Isabel, after, figuring out that the house is constantly being remodeled, there's carpenters that are, constantly undoing and redoing things and fixing things and just constantly working on the home in like weird ways. And the guy that actually brought them there is, I think his name was Mr. Thomas, is actually a paid actor, and he's just given lines to say. He himself is actually stuck and trapped inside the house as well. So he has a whole little mental breakdown. But luckily, Mabel and Isabel escape, but their future isn't set in stone, because when they escape, they're actually in a snowstorm. So yeah, not like the most. This one doesn't really have a whole lot going on with it as far as story goes. It's just creepy. It really feels like The Shining, and because of that, I really appreciate it, but the story alone kind of is meh. Not a whole lot going on there. That leads us into the second story, which we move away from peoples to mice, and we follow this one guy, and I don't know his name because I didn't really care for this one that much. But the one guy, he is building this house, and it's the same house as the first story before. Not the exact same one, but like the same layout. He's building this home to sell, and he has put everything into this home. He's put his passion, his love, all his money, all of his possessions into selling this house. And once he gets to a point where he's ready to show it off after setback after setback, ordering the wrong thing, these beetles come in and start infesting the home, and he has to get rid of them using poison. He finally has the opening, has the people, the show day, has people come in. And once people come in, they shit all over his hard work. They shit on his craftsmanship. They shit on all the little extra details that he put on. They don't like the look. They don't like the feel. They start tearing things apart. They track mud into the house. There's a little girl, a little mouse girl, that has an ice cream cone, and she literally starts smearing the ice cream all over the place, dumping the ice cream cone in the fish tank, which ends up killing the fish. They just really crap all over his project, his passion project, until you have the final couple. The one couple that seems the most interested. Actually, the only couple that seems interested. And so much so that they end up staying the night. Which he finds weird, but hey, he's desperate. He needs to sell this place. But it comes to a realization that they're not interested in buying the house. They just moved in. They basically just invited themselves in, and they're not leaving. So he calls the police to get them kicked out, to remove them from his home, from his house, only for the police to show up. And it's kind of a running gag. The entire short, he's calling someone, and you don't know if it's like a significant other. You don't know if it's if it's an ex. You don't know if it's like his child. You're not 100% sure, but he keeps calling them sweetheart and darling and all this stuff. Come to find out, he's actually talking to his dentist. And his dentist called the police to have them basically say, if you keep harassing your dentist, we're going to have to arrest you. So he gets absolutely no help from the police. People are still there, and they invite their entire family. The home literally becomes infested with with the couple's family. And he's had enough of this. He says, I'm getting rid of these people one way or another, and he ends up getting the poison he used to get rid of the beetles, but it ends up hitting him in the face. Like the poison, the dust ends up getting into his face, and he passes out. He has to get hospitalized. When he comes back to the house just to find out that the family moved in. He now has a home infested with this entire family, and they're not leaving whatsoever. And it's this weird realization that like the family itself are like mice versions of the beetles he was trying to get rid of. And it kind of has this metaphor of, well, honestly, people shitting on passion projects. He worked so hard for so long to make this house just to have people come in and rip it apart. And then the people that end up actually appreciating the home don't want to pay for it, don't want to give the recognition, but they essentially destroy it. It's kind of this unique metaphor where it talks about people not appreciating or, destroying all the hard work that you had, whether it's people critiquing it or a fan base that likes it so much that they kind of take over the project itself. It's no longer what the creator had in mind. It's now theirs. It's now the fan base. So I kind of dig the story on that just a little bit as far as like the metaphoric implications that it has. But the overall look of this one is just, it's gross. And it's grosser than all the other ones. The other ones have this like weird, uncanny kind of feel to it. This one, there's moments where like a beetle gets squished and it's this disgusting, you see all like the guts and the blood and in juices. And there's like moments where like when the mice are revealed to kind of be like beetles and they start crawling all over the place, chewing on the furniture. It's a little hard to watch. but I appreciate it more because at least this one had story. The first one had atmosphere, where this one has a story. And that leads to the third one, which is by far my favorite one. This third one makes the whole watching experience worth it. If I was going to rate just the stories alone, this third one would probably be a 5-star. It's so good. And it's a metaphor that's been used before in other media, but when it's done right, no matter how many times you see it, it's still a good message to have. So the third one is it's now Kitty Cat People, and it's about this character by the name of Rosa, who in a, I guess, like futuristic apocalyptic scenario where floods have taken over, like the whole planet is kind of flooded at this point. The house, which is of course the house from all the other shorts, she bought it to turn it into a apartment building, and she can see the potential in it. However, because of the floods, because of the damage that the floods are causing, because of people not able to go to work because of the floods, she has no source of income and she has no way of fixing things. And once she does fix things, other things mess up because of the flooding water, that it's basically hopeless. Like, she's holding on to something that will never ever get fixed. Even though she can see the potential in it, it just will never happen. And it's not until this outside force, this guy by the name of Cosmos, who is one of her tenant's soulmate, significant other. Once he shows up, he's kind of the pushing force, where one of the characters, Tobias, has always wanted to leave the house, but he was never able to. Thanks to Cosmos building a boat for him, he's now able to. Jan has never had a reason for leaving, never had a want to leave, until Cosmos shows up, and her and him have a connection, and now she has a reason to go, because now she has someone to follow, leaving Rosa all by herself. And finally, with everyone gone, with her to sit there and realize that there is no fixing this house, there is no making this situation better, she gives up hope until she realizes that Cosmos has rigged the house to sail like a boat. And once that happens, the mist that is covering the entire landscape, where she can't see past, just the shore of her home, she finally gets out into the water, and the mist dissipates, and she sees Tobias, she sees Jan and Cosmos, and she sees the world for the first time. And it's such a powerful message, because the way I see it is the house and the foundation of where it's sitting at represents your present, represents the current state that you are in. And even though you are comfortable there, even though you can see the potential it may have, if it's not going anywhere, you need someone, you need an outside force to push you towards a better place, to push you towards the future. Getting rid of the foundation, yet keeping the memories of, quote unquote, the house, the memories, keeping those and moving towards the future, moving towards the open world, moving towards the scary part, the unknown. And once you actually make that first step, once you actually are able to move past your current location, the mist dissipates and you can see ahead. You can actually see into the future. And again, it's something that has been done before, but they do it so well in this and so beautiful that I don't even care. I really appreciated this one. Like I said, this final short was by far the best out of the three, and because of it, it just makes this viewing experience that much better. So overall, I would say the first two kind of are neck and neck, where the first one I was kind of entranced in it because of the atmosphere and the tone that it was going for. I love horror movies, so this one really felt like a creepy house, The Shining-esque kind of feel. And I really liked it, but it didn't have much substance, in my opinion. Where the second one, I didn't like watching it as much, and it wasn't until the end, the big reveal, that I got the message behind it, that I really appreciated the story, but not so much the viewing experience. And then you have the third one, which is just everything. everything about it. It's a lot lighter in tone. The cats look better than, say, because the way they did the stop motion, the humans just look creepy as all hell. The rats looked disgusting. The mysises looked utterly gross. The cats, however, they look cute and like a weird kind of way. So, and it's a lot lighter, it's a lot brighter. It was such a good way to end the whole experience. So if I was to give this a rating, I would say probably either a 3 or a 3.5. That half star is definitely because of the final, the third short. It is really worth watching because honestly, so much time, so much dedication, and so much work goes into stop motion. Take Leica, for example. Leica Studios produces some of the best looking films, and it takes so much work to do stop motion, especially as well as they do. And even though they get like a cult following later, even though they get critical praise, they never get the initial push or the initial recognition that it deserves. No one ever goes and sees Leica Studios at the theaters. No one ever gives their money towards Leica Studios, and it's so, so sad because they really do put a lot of time and effort into making these kinds of films. And the same thing happened with this one. I do think that because it went to Netflix, that it is going to get more appreciation. And because of that, I'm very, very happy. But I really, really encourage people to go check this out because all the hard work that they did needs to be appreciated. So if you have a Netflix account and you're wondering what to check out, please go check out The House. It is worth viewing at least once. Speaking of checking things out, if you liked this video, we have a whole playlist of other videos. They are called Parking Lot Reviews, where me and Jay talk about films, TV shows that we just got done viewing, something that's not like our normal platform. We just kind of take a quick moment to give our initial thoughts. If you do want to check out other things, we have other things. We have videos that talk about our top 5 films of all time, top 5 films of 2021, films that inspired us. We also have our weekly episodes called our Host of Horror episodes that you can not only check out on YouTube, but you can check out on other podcast platforms such as Spotify and Apple. If you haven't yet, do hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification so YouTube will allow you to know once we do release an episode. We do the Host of Horror shows weekly, every Wednesday, but we do stuff like this kind of sporadically. So if you do see something that came out and you want our initial thoughts, you definitely need to hit that subscribe button. Give us a like, give us a comment, speak out to us on all our social medias. I mean, we're pretty much anywhere. We would love to hear from you, love to hear your thoughts and your opinions. But other than that, I have been Heath. This has been a Parking Lot Review, and until next time, see ya.